The sea bus is the only official ferry service in Vancouver, but what most people don't realize is that for thousands of years, boats were the primary mode of transportation in the area. The first inhabitants relied on watercraft for hunting, trade, and transit, as did the first European settlers, their descendants, and recent immigrants. But, as paved roads gradually replaced trails, and horse-drawn carriages yielded to automobiles, cities like ours had a choice to make. Some, like Sydney, Australia, opted to protect their ferries from going the way of the dinosaurs. But in Vancouver, most routes were sacrificed at the altar of the almighty automobile. To understand how integral marine travel was to the region, one need only look to Burrard Inlet and Indian Arm, where communities and holiday spots were established long before the first roads or bridges were built. According to local historian and former Belcarra Mayor Ralph Drew, who literally wrote the book on the ferries of Indian Arm, there was once an extensive network of boats moving people and goods between downtown Vancouver and the Sound.
Harbor navigation, they had regular daily service. And in the summertime on the weekends, twice daily service up and down Indian Arm. People would come to their properties for the summer, and Dad would go to work. He could literally catch the ferry in the morning, go to Vancouver, and get the afternoon one back. And that went on for right into the 1950s, and it all came to an end. Pretty much in the 1960s. The last mailboat run was 1970. And by that time it had shrunk to a very small number. It blows my mind that even though we have an increasing population, it fell out of favor for whatever reason. Like Sydney, there's all kinds of opportunity to shuttle up and down the length of Burrard Inlet for transit users, and that just hasn't materialized.
In a somewhat ironic twist, the towns of Belcarra and Deep Cove are now only accessible to the public by car or bus. These days, your best hope of arriving via the water is to hop in a kayak or befriend someone with a yacht. Darn, maybe next time. There are a number of small charter boat companies that take people up and down the inlet, but while they do offer water taxi services, they cater more to sightseeing and special events. Among them is Indian Arm Boat Charters, which is owned and operated by Michael Griffiths. He said it's about time politicians and investors consider bringing regularly scheduled ferry service back to the area.
Yeah, no, I think they need to take this into consideration, because I know Mayor Little knows as well as I do that coming in and out of the Deep Cove area is not easy, as well as the Dollarton Highway, the Seymour Parkway gets quite backed up. It's also hindering expansion for growth as far as housing in this area as well. So if we had other options of transporting people in and out of our area of Deep Cove, North Vancouver, this would be it'd be a win-win for everybody.
I've heard this idea that you might be able to build a little ferry service just locally, and I think that's a great idea because we're just out driving around, seeing the city, and it's a lot of effort for us to drive around and figure out where we're going. So if there was a ferry sitting here just to go across the bay or something, I think that would be really fun. We would certainly take something like that, and we would see a lot more of Vancouver.
Ryan argued that having a ferry service available might convince him and others to move to the North Shore.
The idea of living in Vancouver is really ideal for the job that I have nowadays, but it's very strange to me to think of living in a condo or living in downtown. So it's really just this ideal scenario to live somewhere like Deep Cove and be able to take a boat and take my bike with me and then be able to work downtown, take advantage of the city, but then be able to come home to such a peaceful little place.
Their sentiments were shared by Indian Arm Recreational Services Senior Captain Mike Botma, who regularly commutes from the Sunshine Coast to the company's headquarters in Port Moody.
Often it can take quite a long time. The congestion quite frequently starts up almost in North Van, close to Westview, and the congestion can take an hour or more to get across. So personally, I ride a bike. Makes it easier. Several of my staff members do similar. Yeah, the congestion is noticeable and getting tighter. So, believe an alternative is to use the water we have available and get people across the shore and connecting with the SkyTrain or other potential use here on this side. I see the need is there. Demand, I don't know. It's going to be a balance of predictability, of affordability, how long it takes, how comfortable it is to use. There's going to be a number of factors to look at. Then we also have the environmental factors to look at. Is it raining? Is it foggy? Etc. etc. So it's not a quick fix. It'll take a while to get everything done and sorted. But that being said, it has been done in multiple places elsewhere in the world. So I don't see why not.
Drew agreed that the feasibility depends on a number of factors, and said that it might be best to start by offering ferry services in the summer months, when demand would be at its highest.
If it's to work at all in the beginning, it would have to be on a seasonal basis. Recreational traffic between Rocky Point and Port Moody, the park at Belcarra, the pier and park in Deep Cove. But there's some stops along the way as well. There's Barnett Marine Beach on the Burnaby side and Kate's Park in the North Vancouver side. So there could be a number of stops, but the key question of the whole thing is the amount of traffic to generate the back and forth circuit. Falls Creek with their little ferries, they have an incredible density of population, and using it as a shuttle to get around has actually become exceedingly popular. But it's the density of people that makes the difference. Well, as Metro Vancouver has grown, the impact on park users has been huge. And for example, when White Pine Beach at Sassamat Lake opened in 1989, the population of it was then Greater Vancouver, was maybe 1.5 million. Well, fast forward 35 years to today, and the population of Metro Vancouver is now 3.5 million. And during warm summer weekends, getting parking is a real challenge. The parks all max out, and so in the last couple of years, Metro Vancouver Regional Parks Department has had to go to pay meters. And rather interesting, what they have found is the number of cars coming to the park has increased substantially by putting in pay meters. And it seems a little counterintuitive, but what it's done is people will now come out for 3 or 4 hours to visit the park and then leave, which creates parking space for someone else to come out. So, but it's not the same, The reality is the number of people for the available facilities is just skyrocketed.
I always suggest to my clients now that Uber Transit and taxi are good options into the Cove. That way they don't have to worry about time limits for pay parking, trying to find parking, getting to the boat on time, that sort of thing. It just alleviates a lot of stress prior to a nice relaxing tour on a boat.
The day will come that the density of people will be there. Just look at the amount of construction going on in Port Moody, Deep Cove. Try to get a parking spot in Deep Cove on the weekend these days. It's beautiful over there, but there's only so much room and can only accommodate so much. So there's a possibility, but I don't know if we're there yet.
Will passenger ferries ever return to Indian Arm and Burrard Inlet, or will they remain docked in the backwaters of history? Only time will tell.
Hey, hey, Cripple Creek Ferry, putting through